Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today I'm really excited because after 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days from receiving the Planter's Choice Bonsai Starter Kit from my beautiful bride Laura, I am finally getting to prune up the species known as Pinus Aristata, or the bristlecone pine. I haven't found any older ones than these from the Planter's Choice Bonsai Starter Kit on YouTube, so I'm pretty much I'm pretty much going to do a tidying up today, kind of see where the trees are at. They have been untouched other than moving from their starter pot into a larger pot, like a pre-bonsai pot, and then they've been just left to grow freely. So there's a lot of branching, and it's really short because they're really slow growers. If you have your own Planter's Choice bonsai starter kit, you know that if you've gotten some of these that germinate from seed, they are extremely slow growers. But that's part of the fun, right? The long term, the long wait on the bonsai. So I have one that's planted with a couple of other Colorado blue spruce that are from seed. They're a little bit younger than the Pinus aristata, but much taller and have a lot more muscular growth. So we're gonna have to trim them back as well. And then I have one more Pinus aristata that is in its own little specimen pot. It took some cold weather damage this winter, but I think it'll survive at least until next spring when I plan on repotting this tree. So, a light pruning on the Planter's Choice Bonsai Starter Kit Pinus Aristata coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. All right, y'all. So, let's see. We got a clear look at that. So, I'm having trouble getting the right angle because when I planted this tree, I must have been short on soil or not paying attention. I planted it a little lower than I'd like to. So it's hard to see the base of the trunk from straight in. So that's why I have you coming down from high to low. I think that would be the best view for now. So as you can see, it comes up, getting a little bit of thickness here. Not much taper, but you could tell it's thicker at the bottom. And it kind of swirls off to the side a little bit. And then has some nice vertical growth. So that's a nice natural shape. I haven't wired. I don't plan on wiring if I can avoid it. But if it just turns into a basic boring tree, then I will venture to the dark side of wiring bonsai, which I have not done yet. So, as you can see, there are just like little branches on this thing everywhere. And then nice little fine candles here, a little bit larger up top. I believe on my other Pinus, the one in the group planting, I don't think that it has large candles like this, so that's interesting. Some of the older needles in here are dead and brown. So if you are growing this kit, let me know in the comments below how you've had success, how many trees you got to germinate and survive and all that. If you have some older ones, maybe you could send me your pictures on Instagram. I always like hearing from people who grew the same stuff and their experiences, like to see with their stylings and stuff. So I'm just using my fingers and pulling out some of this brown dead stuff. I literally have watered these trees, fertilized these trees, but aside from repotting them, I've just kind of ignored them because I would say until right now where I'm noticing all of the branching, you just, they are such slow growers, you just kind of forget about them. They literally, the typical pine, you got the little skinny trunk and then the one little poof. Well, that, I feel like that lasted like almost 2 years. And then finally you start to get some additional buds and it starts to get interesting, but you really just got to let these guys grow. So if you're in a rush and you want like a really cool tree to put on display at your house within the next 3 years, I really wouldn't do this one. This one's for sure when you know that you're going to have a lifetime hobby of doing bonsai, because this one's on its way to 4 years or 3.5 years at least, and here it is, untouched, and it's 5 inches tall. So there are some buds in closer to the trunk. I don't know if that's a good thing, like that's something I would want, or if maybe they're coming out of the base of another branch, sucking some nutrients. I might just nip them out of there. Yes, so this video is definitely an exploratory one. Poking around, seeing what we got, seeing if there's something we definitely don't want in the future. I would be much more likely to take out a branch entirely right now than I would to do like shortening branches and stuff. Looking for back budding. With my other pines, like my Japanese black pines and my stronger looking larger needle pines, I'm gonna wait till June and get rid of all the new growth. Saw a little video with somebody explaining that, and it looked like it made sense to me. But for these, especially because the other planting is getting all crowded, I just wanted to get in here early in the spring season and just check it out. So I started these inside, like I think most people do with this kit, but it's only because I started it in the winter in Connecticut that I started it inside. And then I want to say, if I did it in February, I'd probably let it grow through until the following spring indoors. That's probably what happened in my little grow light area. And then I transferred it to outside. But if I had to do it again, which I don't know that I would grow any more of these species again now, I have my trees going. But if I had to do it again, I would start them outside in the spring. Start them outside, leave them outside. With these cold hardier trees, it just makes your life easier. If you germinate them indoors, you go through this whole process of bringing them outside. That could kill off a percentage of them that is unnecessary if you just wait a few months. Do it with the natural cycle of the year. That's what I would do. That's what I would say. Do what you want. All right, cleaning that up a little bit now. Got most of the brown out of there. Let's see, got a good shot of it. The sun's kind of killing me. What are we gonna do here? Is that better? That's better. You see the pot? It had like some decorative design on the side, like a little terracotta pot, and it's just falling apart, but it'll last till next spring. It's just pretty much superficial on the outside, the stuff that's fallen off, the actual pot itself. All right, so let's lighten this up a little bit. It's just a lot. All right. Dropping the scissors. Don't drop them on your bare feet, Jared. I'm not even drinking. These literally look like nasty armpit hairs. Just like a cluster of pointy green needles coming right out of the base of a branch. This bark really has a nice shade to it. It's cool. I like it great. So now I'm just going around, repeating that process. That's part of it too. You know, you pick a process and then you replicate it and you repeat it and you do it and you create that standard for the whole tree, whatever your goal is. Like a lot of times you're just taking each branch back to 1 or 2 nodes of leaves, and it's just standard going across the whole thing. And then it's like, okay, then you look at the branch structure, but you got to get it all prepped first. You know, it's hard to make a decision when you're looking at the whole thing all cluttered. Getting a little branching in here, which would be a nice divide because it'll fill in this gap a little bit. Really a great selection of branches. So I'm excited that I decided to do it how I did it, which is letting it grow and letting it develop and not trying to prune or do anything too early on. I think this is a decent height for it too. I don't want to take the apex down today. I'm going to let that continue to grow. Definitely hunt for a pot in the off season for it. Probably something basic in terracotta, but maybe a little wider. Allow this thing to kind of crawl around the pot because it looks like it's going to want to grow sideways and all over the place. Repot it, prune its roots, and then probably let it grow untouched for another year. You know, if you're working with the other trees in this grow kit, I'll be doing a video on the Dilonyx regia and maybe the blue jacaranda later on this week. My Dilonyx regia, I mean, that thing can grow to the ceiling 3 times a year if you let it. You know, that's the difference between the tropicals and some of these evergreens, you know. But anyways, it has like a ton of white fly larvae and everything all over its branches. And one of the things with the Dilonyx regia and the tropicals as a whole is when you do treat them for insects, like on their leaves, they're going to naturally curl up, brown up, fall off, look terrible, defoliate. So it's a good time to treat them for insects, defoliate, and prune if it's, you know, about to be summer like it is now. So it's a really good grow season. It should recover fine. I was enjoying it being out nice and full. And if you have a Dilonyx regia, you know what I'm talking about. But inevitably, you leave your trees long enough indoors, they're going to find a way to get some sort of insect. That's been the biggest challenge in bonsai for me. Insects. So I got this little branch down here, a little tiny little bud forming it. I don't know that I need it, but I might want to just leave it for now. And keep removing these little guys here. The sun's creeping up overhead, so if this loses focus, it has some dark patches. That's my bad. But just to reiterate, I'm going around and cleaning up interiorly against the trunk and the branch lines. Anything growing out from the base or right above any of these branches. Just made a big cut right here in the front because there is one right above it that was already branching, so I made that decision there. Yeah, this way you have a little bit more of the trunk line view coming in from the front. All right. Yeah, I am going to remove that little branch. It's just, there's no sense. Right up here, got a couple growing out pretty much from the same spot. They both look like they could potentially branch off. Let's see, this one is going up, this one's out. All right, so just got this one out of here. Boom, boom. Really clean that up, open that up, and I think right here again I've got 2 branches growing above one another, so I'm going to remove the upper one. The upper one's already dividing a good amount. All right, y'all. So I have asked Laura to come out and help me out a little bit because the first sunny day that might be hitting 70 degrees and somehow my phone keeps shutting down because it's overheating. So rather than me keep on getting up and checking, taking me out of my bonsai flow, I have her running the camera now. So if it's bleeped out and we've missed some, just to reiterate, got this nice trunk coming up, swooping up. I opened up in here, got rid of everything that was blowing close to the trunk, what we would call the crotch of the branch and the trunk, you know. And now I'm working around making my branch selection. So I kept these lower three, and I'm just working my way up. I'm not going to take down its apex this year. There's a couple of, what I'm basically doing is taking out the weaker branches because it is such a slow growing tree. I don't want to lose any of the more mature growth on these. And it really is spacing it appropriately the way I would want it anyway. So coincidentally, more dominant branches are the ones that I would select. Got one growing tight between two branches there. Oh yeah, I like how that's opening it up. I think what you're supposed to do typically with pines is you wait, in my climate, you wait until June and you remove all of these new candles. Once they grow in, you take it all the way down. And then I think 4 months later, you like selectively remove, like if there's 3 candles, you remove, you know, 1 or 2 if you just want 1 in that area. And that's kind of the timeline. So this is not one of those prunings. This is welcome to the bonsai world. I'm so excited to be getting to do this. I can't even tell y'all. These things are cool. You get to watch them grow. You don't get to do anything to them. So I've got a little one growing off back here. It's between 2 nice looking branches. I really would like to get this one where it's compact with like really thick branches and like tight little balls at the end of each branch. You know, it's nice separation so you can see the nice trunk line all the way up. I've seen them a lot as like, you know, garden trees at bonsai places and nurseries, botanical gardens. All right, so back here, I got a little clutter since these two, one's on top of the other, and then I got one right here. I'm gonna take this one out. And I think that really gives me all the separation that I want. Yeah. So you see it's got a nice little line to it. I really like that. Cool. All right, so moving on from this little guy here. Maybe next time you see it, I'll be plucking off these in June, but maybe not this year. Maybe I'll just let it go. All right, so let's go take a look at the planting with 2 Colorado blue spruce from seed and 1 more of these Pinus Aristatas. All right, y'all, so here is the group planting. This terracotta pot has survived, but I'm not going to do it over on the turn wheel because if you see here, we have wired it to the railing here, and it took us a really long time to do the wiring and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure that I could execute the pruning from here. So that's why I'm just leaving it right here. The winds get crazy coming up off of the pond. So when it kicks up, like that sends these pots flying. Some end up in the yard. You know, it flipped an entire bench the other day. It was pretty wild. So here's my Pinus Aristata. You see this one's a lot smaller than the other one, a lot less branching, but it's got that really nice gray textured bark coming in and really tight, compact growth. So this thing, 3 years, 3 months, 3 days old. These are more like 2 years old. So I wanted to pick a new apex because I think they're just too tall. Maybe not too much, not too tall. Maybe take this one down to the height of this one and this one. I also, when I repot this next year, I'm going to separate them a good bit in the pot. All right, so pick a height for this one. Why don't we come down to here? And then this one, we'll do down to here. So cleaning out down here, this branch is dead. See that? Nothing growing out of the middle. Sometimes you get those brown needles around the base, the older needles, but they're just gonna fall off. It has nothing to do with the health of the branch of the tree. But that was a dead branch. All right, Carl, with all your cockadoodle doing. Okay, so this one is coming out of the crotch there. Try to clean that up. Another one of those armpit hair prunings. Disgusting. And let's see. Okay, some more growth. Base for branch. Wow, that was like all in a circle around the tree, those little clusters. All right. Let's see. On the little one. Yeah, I think that cleans that one up nice, huh? What we got in here? Yep, got some more of those. I'll just pull these out a little finer. That's good. So down here, we're gonna have another branch coming off. Fill in that area there. That'll be cool to have it kind of swooping around. We got two here. Well, really, well, one died in the middle, and then I've got one coming off that. So let's get the dead piece out. I'm gonna take out the lower one. I just took out that lower one just to give this thing some room, and this branch some room too. Yeah, cool. Okay. You know, I might just raise the canopy on these blue spruce, and then that's about it. I'm just going along the bottom, picking a level and pruning all branches around. If I raise the canopy up a little bit, it won't, disrupt your view of the Pinus Aristata in the meantime. And they'll be the taller trees in the planting anyway, so if I set a height now, I could just maintain that. Going around, trying to prune all these fine little branches as close to the trunk as I can. I think I will do one more row of branches. Oh yeah, that looks better. Weeds growing up in here. Right. It's looking better. These blue spruce grew in really quickly. I had some others from a different pack of seeds, and they are still pretty tiny in comparison. These things just shot up. So I don't know, maybe different genus, different soil, but I was surprised at how much growth these put out last year. Yeah, that looks nice. Going to nip some of the tips up top here. Just so some of those bottom branches can get longer and thicken up a little bit. Yeah, cool. Bring that back in a little bit. That's how I'm gonna leave it. Can you kind of pan around, babe, since I can't spin it? All right, y'all, so that's gonna do it for today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. Thanks for joining us here at the ranch. Thanks, wifey, for helping me out. It didn't seem to malfunction at all with her operating it. But anyways, check back later in this week for that Planner's Choice Bonsai Starter Kit video on the Delonix Regia. It is right here in the window, and it looks pretty from afar, but it's far from pretty with the white flies that have invaded its space. So I'm Jared Paul. Take care, y'all. Cheers.